Welcome, everybody, for another episode of The Skinny on Beauty with the woman who seems to know a lot about this world, the one and only, the beautiful Cheryl Hawley. How are you, Cheryl?
Hey, Paul. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, you do so much with social media. You're an influencer yourself, and you teach others how to be influencers in this space and others. You focus on the beauty space. I am just fascinated to see and meet the influences you bring in each and every show. And boy, have you brought in a glamorous one today.
Oh, yes, I have. Today I'm here
I feel
with
like
Debbie
the bum
Corley.
in the room here, I'm telling you.
I'm such a unique show for OC Talk Radio. I love it.
We've got all these old business guys like me that come in here and talk about dry subjects, and then you guys come bouncing and bubbly and doing selfies and beautying up our studio here, you know.
Yes, Debbie brought these Tell us about all of the stuff that you've brought, Debbie.
Well, definitely had to decorate the room with a little Christmas flair.
Let's get her much closer to the mic here so we can hear the story.
Yes,
you can move
closer.
the mic. You can bring it closer to you.
Yeah, it moves all around, so we're good.
All right.
Perfect. Well, we definitely needed the Christmas flair, and I'm a little bit into the bling. So
a little. Show them the boots you got on here too. I'm a big fan of.
Oh, you've got to pause it though. Pause that leg up there for the live audience. There we go. They're ostrich you said feathers.
Yes, they're ostrich feathers, and they're actually from London. I brought them back when I visited over there this last summer. I was visiting my son in Vienna, and I thought, I have to have these feathers to decorate my face.
She just drops it. My son's in Vienna. I was in London, you know, right? I was in Pacoima last weekend picking up some work boots.
Well, that was actually my first trip overseas, so.
Okay.
Yes, so Debbie is living her life fabulously right now. And for those of you that do not know who Debbie is, she is the creator and CEO of TULIFTS, which is a revolutionary product that we will be talking about for women's sports bras a little bit later today in the show. But Debbie has come in today and is lending us her time with all of her expertise in just how to be a thriving creative entrepreneur and have the self-esteem to back it up. And I think that her powerful story is such a story that needs to be shared on these airwaves and live with you guys today that are watching. So much for tuning in at Unite Socially on Instagram. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Please make sure to follow Debbie. She's got a personal channel, which is debbie.corley. And then she also has her TULIFTS channel. Which
and let's spell Corley, because I struggle with it. I can think of lots of ways to spell that.
Yes.
It's actually pretty straightforward. But
yes.
Today's world, everybody spells things weird, and you don't. So,
so Debbie's personal channel is DEBBIE.CORLEY.
Perfect.
And then she has the TULIFTS, which again we're going to be getting into, which is at TULIFTS. So Debbie was the title sponsor at my recent launch for Affluent to Influence, and I know a lot of you that are watching and listening today were at that event, and it was such a pleasure to be able to get and connect with you at that event and get a little bit closer. We're both from the yoga community and share a lot in our personal lives of just, you know, what we've been through and who we are today. That's made us who we are, right?
Can I just pipe in for one more second? I know you want me to shut up and you guys will talk.
You're great.
But I was invited to come to this thing. We got to be one of the little smaller sponsors on it. And I was so amazed. You really... I'm not just saying this because you're here. You really put on a heck of an event over at was it not the Cove? What's the other one? The Vine or whatever by UC.
OC Vine, yeah. Vine OC. Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like you had a couple hundred people there. You had some panels of major beauty influences. I can't remember her name, but there was some woman there that amazed me. She had like an Instagram following of 250,000 people or some crazy thing like that. You had all sorts of other people, some mommy blogger who had some big Facebook channel or YouTube channel or something. I was just amazed how big that community was and how you gathered them all together.
I have to tell you, I learned so much at that event. And I'm new at all these events, but that was one that I truly brought away with so much good information.
And people stayed and they were involved and they asked questions. They all wanted to know how to, become influencers in their own right, to find some
Absolutely.
voice that they wanted to bring to the audience of the marketplace here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you, Paul. You can interrupt and say that stuff all day long.
I know we're here to talk about Debbie, but just talk about that for a second, because this was your first one.
Yeah,
you weren't sure if
great.
anybody was you're going to throw a party and maybe nobody shows. It's always a fear for everybody who does an event. I know you were calling me like, oh my God, I got 5 people. I got to do this. And I said, give it time, do what you do best. And they responded and turned out, and you had a as you girls would say, fabulous event here.
It really was.
It really
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? Just to lean off of that, to give some tips to the people that are listening and watching today, what I really had to do is really harness the power of not only my title sponsor and that energy, but my supporters and other sponsors like Paul Roberts from OC Talk Radio, and go within and really believe in myself, believe in what I'm doing, believe in what I've been building for the last 8 years with a community that I have done and ran analytics over and over again for, that I run influencer marketing for tons of beauty, fashion, and health brands. And I just really had to do those things to believe in myself. And I think that really lends into what we're going to talk about today is self-esteem.
Definitely.
And so thank you for believing in me.
Oh, it was very, very eye-opening, and it truly was a wonderful learning experience, not only for me, but everybody that
So
was
who were
there.
some of the panel? Who's the woman that had the huge Instagram following?
Well, actually, let's transition, because I know we've only got a little bit of time. So
I just wanted to give them a sense of who was there, though. I mean, it's just,
please do.
just a couple.
Yeah, well, tell us. You're working with one of them now.
Yes, I'm working with Crystal Reed, and she is now helping me influence my brand and actually brand me. So that's a whole new world for me. I have no idea what to expect, but it's so fun, and
what
I'm
do they
loving
do?
it.
I mean, just again, I don't know. I've heard the term, but I don't know what an influencer does. Somehow they've built an audience of people who follow them on YouTube or Instagram or a podcast or something, and then they try and influence that audience with they bring other ideas and suggestions.
I mean, and a lot of people that are listening today are aware of, that what the event is and what the influencers are. And basically, influencers are anybody that has a tribe, right?
Right, and they teach you about something new that's offered to the world. Like my product is a very new product. There's nothing been introduced to any sports bra.
It's revolutionary.
Yes, it is. And so she wants to help me get that message out to what my product actually does for women.
Absolutely, and she's doing that. So she just started recently posting for you, and I'm so excited that you guys were able to make that connection at Affluent Influence.
Yes.
And there was a lot of other panelists there. We had 2 tracks. We had a track that was all for entrepreneurship, the business side of things, people that work in the industry, Sinead Noranias and Kendra Losi. And then we had the influencer side with Crystal Reed and a few other of the panelists.
Who's the lady that has the 250,000? You just got to give me that answer. Who was the lady that had the big Instagram? I was amazed by her.
I think the mommy.
Well, mommy, that was one of them. And then there was some woman that had a huge Instagram
The
following.
cannabis, the woman in the cannabis industry.
Maybe there were a lot of them out
it was.
there.
I mean, I think all of them had really a lot of followers.
Big followers,
Yeah.
For some, what you think is some niche, like that mommy blogger or whatever that was up there. She had a huge following.
Yeah,
for
the motherhood kind.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
just
let's
kind of
get
a
back
support
to,
system.
I'd really like to get back to the show, because I know that we've only got a few, a little bit of time here in the studio, and I want to talk more about you, Debbie, and highlight you as an entrepreneur and really dive deep into that. And so I know that we were talking before the show, and I do want to touch on the beautiful ensemble that you have going on today. So Debbie walks into OC Talk Radio, and she is just blinging everywhere with this gold leather, zipped up jacket with ostrich feathers, and there's another feather, right?
Guinea hen.
Guinea hen. and she does upcycling, right? So Debbie, tell us about upcycling and how you do this as kind of a side hobby, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of when you need to chill out. It gives me that peace, kind of like meditation, sort of, because you need to be focused on what you're doing. So upcycling is a new thing. I think it's when you're turning old clothes or even new clothes into wearable art. And with my boots,
this is wearable.
Yes, it's very wearable. I mean, it's simple. You just take something that you have in your closet that maybe you were going to give away or whatever, and you look at it and you say, oh, if I beaded this, or if I did feathers on this, or whatever, it's a new piece of wearable art, and you go out and people are like, oh, where'd you get that? And then you can teach them and say, listen, you just go to the craft store and you do this and that. And it can be a new hobby for them. And it's healthy and it's good and all kinds of fun things.
Yes, and I love that you found that channel for yourself, you know, because I know I really want to touch on your story too. But before we go into that, she has the most amazing knee-high boots on today too, which are made out of ostrich
That's what I was trying to get her to show, but she just flashed them so quickly. They really are.
I mean, they're very sexy.
They are definitely sexy.
I'm like, where's my bling today? Does this necklace count? It's a little chainy. How does this? But I love it. No, and so it's great to have you here. And I know that you were talking to me and you were saying something about when you were 12, you really realized that you had this creative passion for not only helping women, but getting this outlet out for yourself. And so paint that picture for us and what that looked for you at 12.
Okay, well, at 12, the beginning of the story was I was asked to model at the Ambassador Hotel by my home ec teacher, Miss Maroka. I'll never forget her. And they put me on a bus and we all went down to the Ambassador Hotel, and they wouldn't let me model because they told me I was crooked. And I didn't understand that. I went home, told my parents, I'm crooked, what's wrong with me? And they took me to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with a very severe curvature of the spine, scoliosis. At that time, it was 46 and 13 degrees. Now it's 92 degrees total. And I just decided at that time, my parents did not want me to have the surgery, that I was going to learn to take care of my body the very, very best way that I possibly could. And nobody could take that away from me. So it's been a lifelong effort, but a very good one to learn how to take care of my body. And now I'm sharing that with others. And this is the month I turned 60, and I truly feel...
Woo! Happy birthday month! Yeah.
But I really do truly feel I'm in the best shape of my life right now. And you never, ever, ever get too old to try something new, like starting a business.
And what is it we're looking at when you hold up that picture? Just explain that shot here.
So this is my scoliosis today. It is, I have...
Scoliosis being what? Curvature of the spine?
Curvature of the spine, yes. So that's what my back looks like with skin on it. All those muscles I've worked really hard to get.
Yes. And you do yoga daily, right?
Daily.
And you have to practice every morning standing straight,
right?
Correct?
I get out of bed and I'm not straight. I have to work my way into standing straight,
Right.
and then I get in a hot shower, and then I'm usually okay.
Yeah.
But along with scoliosis comes with a lot of muscle spasms, and you know, your muscles just shrivel up,
Right.
Because the weak side of your curve, you just don't have a lot of mobility in it. But yoga has changed my life.
Instead of doing surgery, you decided
yes.
to do the holistic route, which I love.
Yes.
Right. So you did something that like was going to be harder to really empower you.
Right.
And I feel like you've taken that into creating this business, TULIFTS.
Yes.
That passion. And so after you found that out, you decided to just really, what did you decide to do? You decided to reach deep and move forward holistically. And
so this idea of TULIFTS actually came to me when I was 12 because I had a horrible body image. I was really skinny, and I knew I needed to exercise. So as time went on, I thought, you know, we didn't have sports bras back then. I mean, in the old days, there was no sports bras, and the bras we wore were not supportive. But when sports bras came into play, they are so cute, but they really haven't changed. The support has not changed.
Right.
And so I wanted to revolutionize your own sports bra by inventing these. So I have 4 patent pendings on this, 2 utility and 2 design.
4.
Woo!
Yes,
We're almost there. It's been a long process.
So 4 patents, you guys, and that's really hard to do. I mean, how long did it take you to get the 4 just pending?
3 years to this point, and I probably have another year to go. But we haven't been rejected on any of the embodiments in my claims, so we're good.
And so this is an empowerment. It's an empowerment undergarment, but it actually, what is it? Tell us what it really does for the sports bra and for the body image.
So it does so much. I'll try to condense it really fast. So first of all, it gives you support. It gives you comfort because
I'm happy to model those if you need somebody.
I would love it.
Happy to do that.
They can be the new man's ear.
That's right. Happy to do that.
So they give you comfort, support. They eliminate that uniboob that we all cannot handstand. And
Guys, you know what she's talking about.
Well, I have no idea what do you say when you say uniboob?
well, if you put on a sports bra without any support in there, they just kind of flatten you down and squish everything together in an unattractive way.
I see. Okay, all right.
So this makes things look a little better, but that's not the point. They make you feel really great. They keep things in place when you're doing handstands or being on the weight bench or running especially. So I've been talking with an Orange County breast surgeon, and eventually we're hoping to try for FDA approval because my product has, in some trials we've done, reduced the bounce factor up to 70%. So runners are greatly benefited. And
Amazing. I need one right now.
But when you're running, sometimes it's painful shoulders and just your breast tissue itself. So we have a Cooper's ligament that this is, we're hoping to prove can support that Cooper's ligament.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know what a Cooper's ligament. Should I know what a
What's a Cooper's ligament?
It's the ligament that supports the breast.
Okay.
Yes, and it's a paper-thin ligament.
And are you saying
I
that?
know that you guys messaged
So it not
me.
only
Did you know that?
supports it, it keeps it uplifted,
Yes.
so which is what we all want.
Yes.
But you're saying that it actually reduces what
The bounce
stress, strain,
factor.
and the bounce
So
factor.
so what makes it really uncomfortable when you have natural large breasts?
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Also keeps the sweat away from you, and proven that in our studies that a cooler breast tissue is healthier. And one of the things that I love so much about my product is women that have had a lumpectomy and now their breasts aren't even, they can just use one TULIFT and they can be even again and feel good about going out and exercising.
Ooh, awesome.
So that's my most rewarding stories.
And they don't feel like a padded bra.
No.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes like the lifted, the lift that you want, then it's like, oh, but I already have natural nice sized breasts. I don't need that big cushion, right? So it gives you the natural lift and it supports you
So wicks the
while
sweat
you're
away,
running.
keeps the
right?
sweat away
Keeps
from
the
your
sweat
body.
away. Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
So how are these different than the other things you always see advertised, the miracle bras or whatever?
Well, those are bras, and you don't exercise in those.
Right. So
Yes.
those are these are actual
I see.
inserts that go inside
Into.
the sports
Okay,
bra.
I didn't get that. All right.
Or
now
even a shirt that has the compartment, right?
Or another thing, they go into wedding gowns so beautifully and bathing suits.
yeah.
I love that.
Okay,
Can I
great.
do a shout out for weddings? I just went to a big family wedding back in the Midwest, and I was so embarrassed because one of my cousins has a beautiful daughter, but she's dancing wildly in the wedding gown, and she's literally coming out of the wedding gown, and we're all like,
I hope she's
"Stop."
not listening.
Wait, you didn't tell me then. I
I
could have
don't
solved
need
that.
to see this. I noticed since she was a little kid. I don't need to see this.
Ship her one of Debbie's cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really was. And they're all having a drink and they're being wild, and then she's coming out of this thing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. Yeah.
So I love it. So I want to take a quick little break, and after the break, we're going to talk more about the self-esteem things that are going
Perfect.
on. And for those of you that are watching live on Instagram, please make sure to flip over to the Skinny on Beauty platform. We do divide the shows between Unite Socially and Skinny on Beauty, which Skinny on Beauty is our podcasting platform. So I want to empower on that platform.
Definitely.
And so we're going to be talking about empowerment and a little bit more about how you can get these inserts at TULIFTS.com.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
All right, we're back talking about that favorite topic for all of us here, how to support and uplift your breasts.
Love it.
Oh, Paul.
If I knew I was going to talk about this, I don't know.
Oh, goodness. I know. It's always creative and fun in here. So
I love it. It's the best.
But what struck me as you're saying this is it's not just for appearance.
No.
There's a
No,
practical
it's not.
benefit to putting this, because you're saying that it'll actually help absorb sweat, which I can imagine
Yes.
is uncomfortable. And you're saying, what was it? You said something about a cooler breast?
A cooler breast tissue.
We got to
is-
get you talking to the mic, though. Here.
There you
A
go.
cooler breast tissue is research that it's can help, with breast cancer and things like that. So
yes,
yeah.
and so it keeps the natural pH balance is
Right,
really what we're saying,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I see.
And
So-
nursing mothers can wear this and not leak through.
Oh.
Forgot to mention
Oh,
that.
okay.
So-
Okay, that's great. Yes.
Yes.
So this is why Debbie Corley, for those of you that are just tuning in on Skinny on Beauty, we're talking with Debbie Corley today on the Skinny on Beauty at OC Talk Radio. And Debbie is the creator and CEO of TULIFTS. And so she has this revolutionary product where she has 4 patents pending. And we're talking about the benefits of that. So these inserts literally go into the sports bra and they help support the breast tissue, right?
Yes.
And tell us some more, because I don't want to take the show here.
No, definitely. It supports the breast tissue by comfort and just keeping everything in place. It reduces the bounce
Yeah.
factor. It keeps the sweat away from your body, and it keeps the breast tissue cooler and supports the Cooper's ligament.
And
which
what's the
is-
price point on this?
So they're $34.99,
Okay.
and we are offering at the radio show today $10 off with the code radio.
Yes,
Yes.
check my stories if you
Yes.
forget. I did post about that. So it's 20% off.
$10 off.
Oh, $10 off.
Yes.
Well, that's probably
Yeah,
better.
yes. and also $10 off the tank tops that come.
Oh, yeah. So we have some tank tops. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So we have these little cute tank tops.
Yeah.
They say love on the back because love's what it's all about.
Yeah, so here I'll just post them up really quick here. So this is the logo. Can you guys see? There you go. And then love on the back. Now tell us, you have the tattoo of this, right?
I do. It's right here. It's the love tattoo. And my tagline is actually empowerment through undergarments. So
Empowerment
it.
through
See,
undergarments.
yes, and that's what we're talking about
So
today.
obvious.
Is empowerment.
we can segue right into
Yes,
empowerment.
I love it. So Debbie, you have such an amazing story, and you've overcome so much in your life. I know that you're working with Laura's House now, right?
Yes.
And so you're a domestic violence survivor
And advocate.
and advocate, and that ties in really nicely with you as an entrepreneur of what you do and how you relieve your stress. And you've overcome scoliosis. And you do that on a daily basis.
Always,
right?
yes.
And so talk to us about some tangible things that we can take away from you and all of your insight on how you've been able to build your self-esteem and to continue to empower women.
Well, Chapman University just did a study on domestic violence in high school, college, and it's surprising because they didn't use the word domestic violence. They used the word, have you ever been in a hurtful relationship? And the response became so broader because, yes, the stigma of domestic violence, people think of being punched in the face or whatever it is, but it is truly not that. It is so many things. It's verbal, it's financial, it's sexual, it's whatever. It's not only physical.
Technology.
Yes, yes. So, my platform, my goal is to educate young people because my domestic violence started when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And when I got married, I didn't know the difference. I was just comfortable in having that situation. And I believe we can go into the middle schools. I think 10, 12 years old is probably the right age. And we can educate these children on what a red flag is of domestic violence. And they can say, wait a minute, this happens to me. I just thought it was them being them. But it leads to other things, and it leads to unhealthy relationships down the road. And if you've never been in a healthy relationship, you don't know the difference.
Can I just insert?
Right.
We have a lot of discussions about this on this show, and on the station rather. And we've had Laura's House in here numerous times, a shelter for women who have suffered from domestic abuse. How do you get away? Where do you go if you want to leave that situation? Many times people are forced to stay, they feel, because they got nowhere to go.
I went there 14 years ago and got advice.
To Laura's House?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
fantastic. We'll talk about that a little bit, because one of the things that struck me is, I don't know if it's increasing or if our awareness is increasing, but it sure seems like it's more in the news these days. And the statistic I'll never forget that they said is and it's not just women, but it's mostly women. I mean, the men are being some abusive situations too.
70% women, 28% men, and 2% of homosexual.
Right.
Yes.
Same-sex couples.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
We got to get you talking to the microphone.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Forget I'm here.
Okay.
All right, like we're on the phone. And what struck me was this, that somebody's abusing you. They're verbally abusing, they're emotionally abusing, they're physically abusing you. And you finally decide to leave, which is not easy.
No.
And when you leave, you go back. And they said the average is 3 or 4 times. Talk about that. I mean, 3 or 4 times somebody's beating the hell out of you. Somebody's just making you feel like dirt.
So let's briefly
and you go
talk about
back
that.
over and over again. It
Yeah.
takes more than once to break that
Do you
cycle.
want to talk about that?
Well, so for me, it was kind of, I knew for about 14 years when I went to Laura's house for advice, I needed a plan, and it took me 8 more years to fulfill that plan. But
8
I did.
more years
Yes.
from the moment you
Yeah.
reached out. That's
Absolutely.
I don't understand that. I mean,
Well,
I know it's.
yeah,
I'm not
there's
saying
a
it's
lot of
easy,
science.
but it's wow.
There's a lot of things. I wanted my kids to be okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that my immediate family was okay, but I had not shared my story with anyone. I ended up in the hospital
Well, that's
in
part
Laguna.
of the violence.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
But I ended up in the hospital in Laguna Beach, and I did not want to live anymore. I was done. I was truly
Oh,
done.
my God.
The nurse in the ER, she saw what was going on, and anyway,
Right.
she wouldn't let my ex back into the ER because she wanted me to just have a clear head and think for myself, because he was suggesting I go up into the mental ward, and I did not. That wasn't my place to
Right.
be, but I didn't realize that. But she truly told me that I just needed to reach out and start talking to my family or somebody I trusted. And that was even after Laura's house. I was still too afraid.
Right.
But then I did.
But you did.
I
and
did.
And that's the message that we want to get across to the viewers today is how did you start to take those steps to rebuild your self-esteem after going through something like that?
Well, there's
for so long.
There's so many little steps that
Yeah.
came into play. It was almost like building a pyramid, that you needed a good foundation, and you had to feel safe at each step of the way to make that next move.
Absolutely.
And for 8 years, I kept money and clothes in my trunk all the time, just in case. And I just I knew one day. My therapist, who I've seen now for 14 years, she kept telling me, one day you're going to say, I'm done, and never look back. And that's true. That's truly what happened. When I felt that moment was right, I did. And it was when my son went off to college. And I knew it was just me, and I could do this.
Oh, I love that story. And so
An amazing story. Really,
it's
I
such
appreciate
an
you for
amazing
telling
story,
it
and because I mean, we as viewers, as listeners, people that are suffering from domestic violence, it's such an important thing to be able to get that message out there and have advocates like yourself be able to voice that, because I've been through similar situations myself in a
So many
relationships,
people
and
have.
I know so many women have, and I know, and men. I know that it's a really hard thing to deal with, and it's part of like a brainwash and a conditioning that you go through.
They call it
And
gaslighting. Yeah.
they do call it gaslighting, and it's something that is really looked at as almost like an addiction, because you're right. Am I on the
Yes,
right point?
yes.
And so you're constantly going back to what's familiar, and it's also fear based because that's part of the conditioning and the gaslighting.
Exactly.
So it's just this convoluted thing that, people, like we were talking about before, women who haven't found their wings. And so being able to get your voice out there and build those self-esteem tools and be able to not go to drugs and alcohol when you're
Right.
going through something like this. Like you upcycle and you
Crafts
do yoga
and
and you do crafts, and those things are so important. So is that part of like how you were able to build your self-esteem
Yes.
back up, by
Yes.
creating things that you were
Yes.
proud of?
Absolutely. One of the things that I said to myself through all of this, that I was never going to let my physical self go.
Yeah.
I was never going to turn to drugs, never going to turn to alcohol, and I was always going to take care of the things that I had control over. It was my eating and my exercising. No matter where I was, I could do yoga in the bathroom. It didn't matter. I could always do something to take care of my body, and I knew I had the other reason with my scoliosis to do that too. But so many people just give up, and they do take the easy way out. But I want people to know, like me, a domestic violence advocate, there are people you can call anywhere and they will be there to listen and guide you. I promise you. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some more of the self-esteem building tools that you have. I know that we mentioned mentioning 3 or 4 things that you do. So,
well, definitely my rock is yoga. I do it at least 6 days a week because it's really truly mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
And once you practice, I've been practicing for 17 years, and once you do start practicing and really understand the fundamentals of it, it's not only that you're a lot more limber than you were, but you can also calm your mind. You can calm your heart rate, actually, and you can focus. And when you are living in chaos, when you're surrounded by somebody or things, work, whatever, and it's chaos all the time, yoga is a place where you can always come back to and center yourself.
And that's something that you did when you were still in the relationship,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And that was probably like your safe haven.
Yes.
Right?
And I also boxed in my garage.
And you boxed in. So see,
that
these
one
are
I
all
get. Yeah, right.
unhealthy outlets. Like, yeah. Did you have a picture of his face?
No. But I did have.
What? I did.
You did? Oh my goodness.
I love it. No, but I did think about it, but I had a pole wrapped with foam, and I literally put on my boxing gloves, and I would beat the crap out of the pole in the garage.
Yeah, right.
So there's
and
there's great with yoga and yoga guide and visualization is actually a really huge thing in meditation.
It is.
And creating change. Right?
Change.
So being able to visualize yourself, even like just closing your eyes and walking away from that situation is a very powerful tool, because when we close our eyes, our body doesn't know the difference between reality and non-reality.
Absolutely.
So you're creating that subconscious thought process for yourself, and it could take 8 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is that you're doing things. And that's what I love about your story, is that you did things about it. You, instead of going the other way and playing the victim role of, oh, I have this health condition and I'm in this relationship and I can't ever, I don't feel like myself or whatever. You fought, and you didn't stop fighting until you were satisfied.
Exactly. And I was always told, you're not educated, you're not this, you're not that, you're just not enough. We are all enough, exactly how we are. It is truly, that is so true. We are enough, just the way we are.
And so how do you start your days, Debbie? I mean, to get in that mindset?
Well, I was telling you, Cheryl, when I go to bed at night, I put my head on my pillow and I close my eyes and I visualize what my day was like. And if I can reflect on my day and it puts a smile on my face, I've had a great day.
Yes.
And when you go to sleep like that, you wake up happy. And
yes.
you plan your day and whatever. But my day always starts with straightening up and going to yoga. And then, from that point on, sometimes I get up and have to do my emails and things like that.
Right.
But I do them from bed. I'm very lucky. And then I start my day, and I'm usually out trying to find a home for TULIFTS and all the good stuff, and networking, and also talking. From January through June, I do the golf tournament. It's called the Hope Tournament for Laura's House.
For Laura's House, yeah.
Yes, and I support that, and I'm on the
you're getting ready for that now.
Yes, yes. I believe our date's going to be June 3rd. That may be changing, but it's a local golf event, and we usually have 125 golfers, and it raises money for Laura's House, and it goes directly to the women and children involved.
Yes, and for those of you that aren't local listening, Laura's House is here. Is it Dana Point? Mission?
They're corporates in Ladera Ranch.
Ladera Ranch,
but they do have resale stores all over.
Oh, they do.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Yeah, okay. So their corporate location is here in Southern California.
But they
Orange
have
County.
the object is they have homes. They have places you can go to escape.
Yes, they do, and those are all over.
To get away, to create a break, to create some separation space so that you can decide.
And even
what
if you're
comes
with
next.
child, right?
Right. And they also offer legal advice, and they actually can, give you some counseling, and they help, but they also help shape your future, which is so important.
That is important, but you're helping shape your own future as well, Debbie. Because
you have to be proactive.
Literally, she's shaping her body and she's shaping her future. Exactly.
Yes,
literally.
And she's living the way that she wants to.
Oh,
and I know that you always say, you feel like you just were born.
I do. I feel like
at 60.
Yes, I'm 6. This is my month I turned 60, and I truly feel age is so just a number. You can dress the way you want to. You can do what you want to do. Nobody should tell you what you can and can't do.
Absolutely. And you have an awesome story about Cher.
Yeah, okay, this
Share
is
that.
so funny. This
Yes.
is like a quote
The
I heard.
singer, Cher.
Okay, so
All
I
right.
heard this today. This is so funny. Okay, so a man came up to Cher and said, "Why do you still keep wearing the clothes and the hair and all of that kind of stuff? You're old now." And she said, "Why don't you go ask Mick Jagger?" I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's true. We never ask Mick why he
No.
gets up and does what he does,
No.
but at some point you're supposed to be a grandma and stop doing this. Yeah.
Just because they're celebrities and rocking it does not mean normal everyday people can't go out there and rock it too.
That's true. But you
love
have
that.
to be committed. And I want to highlight something that you mentioned about, you are very lucky to be able to check your emails and be remote from bed, right?
Yeah.
But with that comes a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline, a lot of belief in yourself.
Absolutely.
When other people the system is made for you to fail. Like, that's just what it is. Being an entrepreneur, the system is made for you to fail. Even an actor, they're an
If it was
entrepreneur.
easy,
So if it was-
everybody would do it.
Right.
Right.
And
it is not easy.
and so believing in yourself,
Right.
right? And that is something that I've heard you say over and over and over in your story, is that you just continue to believe in yourself,
Right.
and you're continuing to help other women believe in themselves, and you're doing that in such a safe and holistic and
Yes.
healthy mindset by finding things that you can do to keep yourself busy, but also proud.
Yes, and that one of the things is when people told you can't or you're not good enough or whatever it is, all of those things I put in my head and I said, I am and I can and I will. And I did. Every one of those
Yes.
things that people told me to quit, give up, whatever, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every single one of those things have come true.
Oh,
Yes, and I've even got to model.
I got chills.
No, but I even got the modeling thing that I didn't get to go on stage.
Yeah.
I just got to be a model.
Oh my gosh! So
yes.
really,
Yeah, for Faces of Silver, it's a women over 50, and I'm on the website for Faces of Silver.
Oh my
and
gosh,
it's
I love
very nice, and
that.
it's so empowering to me because I never thought I was pretty. I was never good enough, and I feel that way now. I actually had a photo shoot when I was in January for my business, and that photo shoot changed my life because when I looked at those pictures, I could see the happiness in my eyes again. And looking in the mirror, it's just passing. But when you have photos to reflect on, I just couldn't believe where I was 5 years ago to those pictures. It was amazing.
And it is in the eyes. That's a really, I teach some groups for
Yes.
in recovery when I do yoga.
You should share that because it's really beautiful.
Well, I teach yoga and meditation mindset tools for those that are battling with addiction. So I go to a recovery center and I do that, but I also hold groups on self-esteem and stuff. And one of the things that I do is you were talking about the eyes, and it's really important. A lot of people have a hard time being able to look themselves in the eyes, especially when they're building self-esteem. And I mean, let's be real. A lot of people are struggling with self-esteem.
Absolutely.
Almost, I think everybody, right? So I don't know what the statistic is, but the exercise is, and I challenge you that are listening and watching today to do this, is to be able to wake up and look yourself in the eyes and say, I love you.
It's so important.
And it's really important because that it is. I mean, people that know you really well know when you're having a bad day.
They
do.
do.
They know it not because your behavior, but because of your eyes.
It's your body
So,
language. It's everything.
And you'll be amazed. Well, I don't know if you'll be amazed, but I was amazed with how hard it was for me, like 10 years ago when I started doing this, to do it, and how hard it is for other people that have never done it, because it's building that personal connection with yourself. But that personal connection is what's going to be able to get you through all of the hard times.
Right. And actually, when you're in a relationship that is abusive, you are afraid to even be you. Because if you are you, you're letting that other person down. And
Yeah, it's
that's-
a whole codependent
it's-
thing. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that has to be broken. You have to love yourself.
Right. And so these little things, and I hope you guys have taken some really good tips from today's show. not only about being an entrepreneur and what to do to kind of fill the time, because there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to see your vision. And you know what? Frankly, the people shouldn't see your vision because your vision is your own. So when you have the downtime, being able to fill it with positive things and not getting off kilter into following into negative things is really important. So really finding out who you are and what drives you. I mean, you could like kickboxing. It doesn't have to be yoga.
No,
right?
Anything,
I mean, just any outlet.
Or just walking outside and smelling the roses is so important.
Absolutely.
It is so, so important.
And I hope you guys learned a lot about tulips and these amazing inserts. I mean, seriously, you guys, go check them out. They're not that expensive. You said $34.
They're $10 off for the promotion, but you get 2 pairs. You get a wired version and a non-wired version.
Oh, that's very important.
Yes, and they come with adorable little wash bag.
Yep, there we go.
That you can wash them in, and you don't actually even have to take the inserts out. They can just go in. Stay in the bra.
Yeah.
And it's really convenient.
Oh, stay in the sports bra. So you can throw the sports bra in
the bag.
With inserts.
Yes.
So for
they don't fall out.
$24, you can get 2 inserts that
2
are
pairs.
2 pairs. 2 pairs. Yep, that's key. 2 pairs of inserts that come with their own bag, which these bags are amazing. I don't know if you guys have any of these bags.
Great. You can buy the bags,
but they're so good.
They're great for makeup when you're traveling because they wash so easy, and they're great for a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. And make sure it's tulifts.com.
Yes.
Tell us where they can find you on social media.
And spell tulips again here. So we always make sure that everybody spells it so you understand. There you go. Hold it up and spell it. Yeah.
TULIFTS, like 2 lips.
Paul just got it. I love it.
You know, I didn't get it until you did that.
I know.
I'm thinking of the tulip thing, and I'm thinking, well, how does that tie in here? Okay.
No, 2 lips for your breath.
2 lips.
Yeah.
All right.
And then my little logo kind of
right. And you also get discounts on this, right?
Yes.
On the apparel.
You
right?
can, yes, and those those are going to be $10 off too. And there's 2 different styles. There's a longer version and a short version.
Are these only over the internet? Are there any stores that are?
Actually, yes.
We got to get you talking to the mic though. Get excited and you start talking to everybody.
I know.
She likes talking to you, Paul.
I get very excited over everything, the littlest things.
That's okay.
They're in 3 boutiques in Orange County. They're in Summer Days Boutique in Fashion Island. They're in Smith and Angie in Aliso Viejo, and they're in Camilla's in Dana Point Harbor.
Okay, great. And now, if they go to your website, will they be able to see the locations there?
No.
Okay, so let's go over them one more time.
Okay, so they are in Summer Days Boutique in Fashion Island.
Okay.
They are in Smith and Angie Boutique by the theaters in Aliso Viejo, and they're in Camilla's, which is in Dana Point Harbor by RJ's or by Jimmy's, I guess you can.
The Smith and Angie's, is that by the Core Power Yoga?
Yes, it is.
In the movie theater?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
yep, I know
is.
it very
Exactly.
well. That's where I got my TT from.
Oh, very
my
good.
certificate.
Yes. Oh, that's a great place. Anthony Chavez.
Anthony Chavez, yes.
Yes. Love
well,
Anthony.
it's Old Home Week here.
There you go.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and listening today. Thank you, Debbie, for coming in and
It was a
sharing your
pleasure.
time with us
Thank
and
you.
your tools. Don't forget to tweet me if you have any questions on how I can get you started with your own social media and marketing channels at Unite Socially.
She's great.
Till next time, stay
Bye.
beautiful, Orange County.